What if the reason your life feels stuck is not because the door is closed, but because you keep knocking where you were never meant to enter? And why does it hurt so deeply to try so hard, pray so sincerely, hope so purely, only to end up in the same place with the same silent ache in your chest? Maybe it's not your fault. Maybe you were taught to force instead of flow, to chase instead of choose, to survive instead of receive. If you've ever whispered to the stars, "When will it be my turn?" then this message was written for your soul, because in the next few minutes, you will not only hear the truth, you will remember it. The truth that what you seek is already seeking you, and that the path you could never force open will now unfold beneath your feet, quietly, gracefully, and without resistance. You were never lost. You were just waiting to remember. Stay with me. The laws you're about to learn will not just change your day. They will restore your power. Money is not earned, it is assumed. The law of supply waits on the law of assumption. You've been told your whole life that you have to hustle to earn money, that you must prove your worth. Clock the hours, chase the approval, grind until you're drained, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be rewarded with barely enough. But what if I told you the struggle was never necessary? What if I told you money doesn't come because you work hard, it comes because you believe it will? And what if all this time, you weren't broke, you were just believing in lack? Now ask yourself, what have I assumed about money? That it's hard to come by, that there's never enough, that others deserve it, but not me, because whatever you've assumed is what you're living. Here's the bold spiritual truth. You are not out of money. You are out of alignment. You are not waiting for money. Money is waiting for your assumption. Assume it is already yours, and the law of supply will obey. The law of assumption is not wishful thinking. It is the law of creation. It teaches that whatever you assume to be true in your inner world must be made visible in your outer world. It does not ask for proof. It demands belief, and it works with precision. No exceptions, no mistakes. You do not earn with sweat. You attract with stake. You do not deserve through pain. You receive through assumption. So many block this law because they confuse facts with truth. They look at the bank account and they panic. They see the bills and they shrink. They say, "But I don't have it." And the law answers, "As you assume, so it is." You see, the law of assumption doesn't wait for evidence. It creates it. It doesn't ask how. It only mirrors what. Whatever you claim, with faith and feeling, becomes your experience. So the question is not, do I have enough? The question is, what have I assumed to be mine? To align with the law of supply, you must rise above appearances. You must see wealth where the world sees none. You must speak increase where others speak loss. You must walk as the one who already has, not the one who. Florence Scovel Shinn said, "Your word is your wand, and the word you speak after I am becomes your financial reality." Stop saying, "I am struggling, I am trying, I am barely getting by." Start saying, "I am provided for, I am a magnet for wealth, I am aligned with divine supply." Because the law of supply, infinite, exact and generous, waits on only one thing, your assumption. I now release the belief in lack. I now assume I am richly provided for. Divine supply flows to me without delay. I speak increase into my life. What I assume, I receive. I am already supplied. She was tired, not just tired of working, but tired of the endless proving. Every month, it felt like a race. Rent, bills, loans. She'd do everything right. Show up, stay late, save the little she could. And still, the fear would crawl in at night. That cold, familiar whisper, what if it's not enough? And then one day, sitting at a cafe with only a glass of water, she heard a voice inside her say, not loud, not dramatic, but still and clear, what if I stopped earning money and started assuming it? It wasn't a thought she had ever dared before. She had lived her life, like a soldier, obedient to effort, terrified of lack, loyal to struggle. But in that moment, something shifted. Not outside, inside. She didn't get a promotion. She didn't win a lottery. She simply decided to assume that supply was already hers. She walked home differently that night. Not because her circumstances had changed, but because she had. She began speaking to herself as though the money was already on its way. She stopped begging in prayer and started declaring with faith, "Thank you, God, for the supply that is already mine." She let go of the how and held fast to the "it is done." 3 weeks later, She received a call from someone she hadn't spoken to in months, an old friend who had launched a project and said, "I don't know why, but your name came to me over and over. I feel like you're the right person for this." The offer paid more than she'd ever made, but that wasn't the miracle. The real miracle was this. She no longer feared money. She had seen through the lie. She had discovered the law, because the law of supply had always been faithful. It had only been waiting for her assumption. Until you believe you already have, you cannot receive. But the moment you assume it, as done as yours, as real, the law obeys, not later, now. Poverty is not a condition, it is a rehearsed identity. You do not attract money, you align with it. There comes a quiet moment in every soul's journey, a pause between desperation and awakening, where a question floats up from within. What if I was never meant to struggle? What if the way I see myself has kept me poor? You see, poverty is not just about lack of coins or checks. It is a shape the mind takes when it has rehearsed fear long enough to believe it. It is not what life gave you. It is what you were told to expect. And yet, you still feel it, don't you? A small voice beneath the panic, beneath the shame, whispering, "This isn't who I really am," because it's not. You are not a beggar in God's world. You are not a mistake in the field of supply. You are divine by design, but you've been rehearsing limitation, like a part in a sad play. Here is the sacred truth. Poverty is not your punishment, it is your pattern, and patterns can be broken. The law of assumption, when rightly understood, is your rescue. It teaches this: you do not attract what you want, you attract what you are, and what you are is the sum of what you have assumed, believed, and spoken, again and again until it hardened into form. Most block this law because they worship what they see. They say, "How can I say I am rich when I can barely pay rent?" But they do not realize that very question is the assumption that fuels their lack. The world you see is the echo of yesterday's belief. You change it not by pushing harder but by aligning deep. To align means to step into a state of being where abundance is no longer a wish, but a knowing. Florence said it clearly: man must prepare for the thing he has asked for when there isn't the slightest sign of it in sight. She didn't mean fake it, she meant assume it. Live from the end. Feel as though it is already yours, because in truth it already is. You do not attract money by needing it. You align with money by being the one who has it. Let go of the old rehearsed identity, the one that says, "I never get ahead, I always mess it up. It's just hard for people like me." That voice was never yours. It was borrowed from pain. Release it now, like a coat that never fit. Begin to speak your new identity, not with force, but with sacred confidence. I am provided for. I am trusted by the universe. I am no longer rehearsing struggle. I am rehearsing supply. It may feel strange at first, but do not stop. You are not lying. You are remembering. You are not pretending. You are realigning. And soon, what felt like fiction will become your fact. Because you do not attract wealth, you align with it, and what you align with arrives. I no longer wear the identity of struggle. I now embody the feeling of wealth. My mind rehearses success, not lack. I am aligned with all I once chased. I no longer attract from fear. She sat quietly in the hallway that day, paper bills in hand, fear in her chest. The world had taught her one rhythm: survive, work, hope, wait, repeat. She did everything right, and still felt behind. And then she heard something different, not from outside, but within. Not a shout, but a whisper. "You are not poor, you are misaligned." At first, she resisted. "But I don't have what I need." And the voice said again, "You don't have it, because you don't believe it's already yours." That day she did nothing dramatic. She did not win a jackpot. She did not land a sudden miracle. What she did was shift. She stood before her mirror and refused to speak the old rehearsed lines. Instead, she said, "I am wealthy, I am trusted, I am already supplied." And she kept saying it, not to force the universe, but to free herself. Within weeks, her outer world began to follow. A new role opened up, one she hadn't seen before, because her old assumptions kept her blind. Money began to appear in ways she couldn't predict, because she stopped expecting it to be hard. And the fear she once felt grew quiet. She wasn't lucky. She was aligned. She didn't get more. She became more. Because she stopped rehearsing poverty and began practicing power. You don't need more evidence. You need a new identity, and that begins with one choice: assume the supply. Where the wealth, let the world catch up. Your word is the key that unlocks the vault. Need repels supply, faith calls it forth. There is a moment, quiet and uncelebrated, when a soul realizes no one is coming to save them. Not the government, not the employer, not even the lucky break. And in that moment, when panic might rise, something older and wiser whispers beneath the noise, your word is your wand. You see, the world was not made by hands alone. It was made by word, and still today, your world bends itself around the words you speak, think, and repeat. You say, I'm broke, and the vault stays sealed. You say, I never get ahead, and so you remain behind. You say, things just don't work out for me, and the law being exact, being just obeys without judgment. And yet, hidden inside you is a sacred power, not in your effort, not in your fear, but in your voice. Florence Scovel Shinn said, your word is your wand, the words you speak create your reality. Every time you speak defeat, you lock the vault. Every time you speak faith, you turn the key. The law of the word, a divine law, teaches us that whatever is repeatedly spoken with belief becomes substance. This is not superstition, it is law, invisible, precise, universal. The block most people face is not lack of money, but lack of discipline in speech. They do not realize their words are tools, not just reactions. They speak from the wound instead of the truth. They echo what they see instead of declaring what they seek. To shift, you must stop using your voice as a thermometer, measuring circumstance. Use it as a thermostat, setting a new reality in motion. Say not, I am tired of being behind. Say, everything owed to me is rushing toward me now. Say not, this never works for me. Say, all things now work together for my good. Do not beg, do not complain. Command, declare, and above all, believe. Because your words are not just sounds. They are keys, and you are the keeper of the vault. I speak only words of increase. I speak only words of increase. My word unlocks the doors meant for me. My word unlocks the doors meant for me. I do not describe my fears. I declare my truth. I do not describe my fears. I declare my truth. The vault of wealth opens at my command. The vault of wealth opens at my command. I speak faith, not fear. My word is the beginning of my wealth. My word is the beginning of my wealth. There was once a season when everything felt stuck. No new money, no open doors, no progress. It felt like the whole world was whispering not yet. She tried working more. She tried hoping harder. She even tried silent. But then, in a quiet, tearful moment, she remembered something she had read long ago, Florence's words. Your word is your wand, it echoed in her like a forgotten song. And so she made a choice, not dramatic, not loud, but sacred. She stood before the mirror and began to speak as though the wealth was already hers. I am already provided for. I speak only what I seek. I call forth supply from unseen places. She spoke it not once, but daily. She guarded her tongue like a temple, and slowly life began to shift. A conversation opened a door. A message led to new opportunity, unexpected checks, delayed payments, surprise offers. They all began to arrive, not because she worked harder, but because she spoke in faith. She didn't unlock the vault with panic. She unlocked it with her word. The door was never closed. She had simply never used the key, and now you hold that same key. So speak not of limits. Speak as one who already knows. Your word holds the code to every door. Now hear this deeper truth. Need repels supply, faith calls it forth. The more you chase, the more life hides. The more you fear, the more it delays. But the moment you know deeply, quietly, firmly, that what you need is already on its way, it arrives. Need is noisy. It says, I hope, I lack, I beg. But faith is still. It says, it is done, it is mine, it is written. Most block supply not by mistake, but by emotion. They panic, they doubt, they speak need, even in prayer. But the law does not answer need, it answers assumption. And the one who assumes, calmly, confidently, that supply is flowing even before it shows, becomes the one who receives. You must shift out of chasing and into receiving. You must stop begging the universe and start believing the universe. You must stop seeing money as outside of you and begin to feel it as already yours. And here's how you do it. Get quiet. Feel the thing you want as if it were already real, not in fantasy but in faith. Then speak it, claim it, walk in it, and life, obedient to law, will make it so. I no longer beg for supply. I no longer beg for supply. I walk in the assumption of wealth. I walk in the assumption of wealth. Faith is my magnet. I rest and receive. Faith is my magnet. I rest and receive. I trust divine law more than temporary fact. I trust divine law more than temporary facts. Supply comes to me with ease. Supply comes to me with ease. I now align with peace and plenty. I now align with peace and plenty. There was a time when she needed money badly. Bills were due. Options were few. She did what anyone might do. She panicked. She prayed hard, but from fear. She begged the heavens, but from lack. She kept saying, I need this to happen. Please let it happen. And nothing happened. Then something within her shifted. A deep stillness came. She realized her need was chasing the thing away. So she stopped. She breathed. She said, it is already done. She stopped talking about need and began walking in trust. She released the timeline. She softened the grip. She stopped asking for miracles and started expecting them. And within days, a forgotten refund, a past client returning, an unexpected opportunity. It was not magic. It was law, the law of non-resistance. Because need is resistance, faith is flow. The supply had always been near. It was waiting for her to let go of fear, and now it waits for you. So speak your wealth. Assume your supply. Rest in knowing, because faith, not need, is the door, and you already hold the key. You are not behind. Your path is unfolding exactly on divine time. Delay is not denial. It is the detour that protects your destiny. There was once a woman who spent years waiting for love, waiting for success, waiting for life to finally begin. With every candle blown on a birthday cake, her heart sank deeper into the belief that she had somehow missed her moment. The world kept moving. Friends married, peers climbed ladders, others laughed with children or stood proudly in careers that seemed blessed. And yet she sat in stillness, in silence, wondering if heaven had forgotten her name. But what she could not see, what most of us do not see, was that her waiting was not wasted. Her delay was divine. For during that quiet season, her soul was being stretched. Her faith was being shaped. The soil beneath her spirit was being tilled, softened, and made ready to hold the magnitude of the miracle. You see, the law of preparation is often hidden behind discomfort. It is not taught in schools, nor honored in modern hustle culture, but it is written in the stars and etched into every sacred scroll. The universe never sends the blessing before it prepares the vessel, and if you feel stuck, it may be because you are in training, not punishment. You are not being delayed, you are being deepened. Many resist this truth. They scream at the silence. They knock on closed doors with bloodied hands. They question their worth, comparing timelines with strangers, forgetting that no flower blooms in competition with the next. But the soul, your soul, does not rush. It does not run late. It unfolds like a rose, petal by petal, according to the sun's rhythm, not the clock's. The delay is the design. It protects you from premature arrivals, from half-built bridges that would crumble beneath your weight. When the divine says not yet, it is never. It is a promise that what is meant will come when it can stay. A kingdom built on sand will fall, but one anchored in faith cannot be moved. Now, how do we move from frustration to faith? How do we let go of the timeline we clutched so tightly it cut into our palms? We begin by releasing the illusion of being behind. There is no race in the spiritual realm, only alignment. When you believe you are behind, you create resistance. And what you resist, you delay. The law of non-resistance reminds us that peace brings progress. Faith opens the floodgate. Speak it aloud, even now. I am not late. I am being prepared. Close your eyes. Feel those words settle like warm light into your chest. Let them replace the shame. Let them wash over the years you thought were wasted. They were not. The quiet years taught you patience. The lonely days showed you self-love. The empty moments carved space for wisdom. And that carving, beloved, was sacred. You are the vessel. The delay is the glaze on the clay. It seals you. It strengthens you. It ensures that when the fire comes, and it will, you will not crack but shine. There is an old saying, the teacher is silent during the test, So too, the universe is often quiet when we are being readied for our next level. But silence is not abandonment, it is a sacred classroom. Learn, listen, become. You were never meant to sprint through this life collecting milestones for validation. You are here to grow into the fullness of your calling, and every delay is proof that heaven cares too much to let you walk into your promise, half-baked and ill-prepared. Hold fast. You are not stuck. You are sacredly stationed. The tide will turn. The right door will open. The love you seek will find you dressed in wholeness, not desperation. The opportunity will land softly into hands that know what to do with it. Trust the timing, honor the wait, and above all, stop saying you are behind. The stars do not rush, the moon is never early, and neither are you. Breathe, speak the word that Florence would offer. I am divinely guided in perfect ways. You have not failed, you have not fallen off track. You are precisely where the light needs you to be, and what is yours cannot miss you. Wait in faith, not fear. The delay is divine. The preparation is holy. The unfolding is closer than you know. You cannot receive what you have not first prepared for in mind. Delay is not denial, it is divine arrangement. There is a quiet law that governs the unseen, the law of divine preparation. It teaches that all things arrive on time, not when your ego demands, but when your soul is truly aligned. If you are still waiting, it is not because you are forgotten, it is because the stage is still being set within you. But people despair. They see closed doors and assume the universe is silent. They try, fail, retreat. The delay confuses them. They pray and speak affirmations with their mouths, while holding fear in their hearts. They speak of faith but secretly worship time. They say, if it hasn't come yet, perhaps it never will. But this is not truth. This is illusion, masquerading as logic. The truth is, the moment your soul declares the vision, the universe gets to work. But it begins not outside of you, it begins within. There's a woman I once knew, not by name but by spirit. She had prayed for a life of peace, abundance, and divine purpose. She had suffered through long nights of lack and misunderstanding, but she knew deep down she was not meant for an ordinary existence. And so she held her vision quietly, like a lamp beneath her rib. She was not yet who she needed to be to hold what she had asked for. The love she prayed for required her to soften. The money she requested required her to speak. The freedom she desired required her to let go. And so it did not come immediately. It came after the tears. It came after the small braveries. It came when she no longer needed it to complete her, but to reflect her inner wholeness. That is how the divine delivers, not as a bribe for pain, but as a mirror for inner readiness. You see, people often assume their lives are stagnant, but the universe is never still. Your delays are not deserts, they are sanctuaries. Your waiting is not wasted, it is sacred timing. The soul is not on the clock, it is on divine sequence. And if your desire has not yet arrived, ask not when, but rather what in me is still preparing. Because the thing you desire already exists, it is merely waiting for the version of you who can sustain it. So how do we shift? We shift by surrendering control of how it must arrive, by releasing the bitter grip of time, by becoming what we desire in word, thought, and feeling. If you desire love, become a home for it. If you desire abundance, bless what you have. If you desire peace, no longer entertain chaos, even in thought. What you hold in consciousness, you hold in form. That is the law. And so we return to this. You cannot receive what you have not first prepared for in mind. This is not punishment, it is protection. The universe never delivers before you're ready. To do so would be cruel. Now let me whisper to you something few will ever say. Sometimes the thing you desire, it's already yours, but the version of you asking is not yet the one to receive. So the universe says, grow, soften, return. And in that returning, the door opens without knocking. Your word is your wand. What you speak, you summon. Do not speak defeat and expect triumph to obey. There is a holy law, ancient and unshaken, the law of the word. What you speak holds power far beyond casual sound. It is the vibrational blueprint of your tomorrow. It builds or breaks. It lifts or lowers. It calls or cancels. Yet most speak carelessly. They complain, criticize, confess fear, all unknowingly. They declare, I am tired, and wonder why energy evades them. They announce nothing ever works, and then experience repeated failure. They curse their finances, curse their relationships, curse their dreams, and call it venting. But venting is still invoking, and your word is a seed. Every sentence sown is either a curse or a command. You must speak like the one who knows the divine is listening. I once heard of a man who lost everything, his work, his reputation, even his name. He sat alone, with nothing but silence and shadows. Every morning he had a choice, to curse what was lost, or declare what was becoming. And so he spoke not of ruin, but restoration. He whispered to the wind, "My soul is intact, my story is not over. This too shall pass, and I shall rise." He did not know when, he did not know how, but he knew, and so the words created the road. The road led to encounters. Encounters led to opportunity, led to restoration, greater than what he had lost. That is the power of the spoken word. It creates as it travels. But many do not understand this. They speak defeat with such ease, not realizing each sentence is a scroll signed in spirit, and the law does not pause to ask if you meant it. It only knows agreement. So how must we shift? We must become stewards of sacred speech, guardians of our own declarations. We must stop casually condemning ourselves, even in jest. The universe hears you even when you're joking. The law is not sentimental, it is spiritual. Speak life. Speak ease. Speak the truth that transcends circumstance. And if you do not feel it yet, speak it anyway, until your soul remembers. I am safe, I am guided, I am abundant, I am enough. Say it, then say it again. Say it until your bones believe. Say it until reality reflects. For the word becomes flesh, that is law. It is not superstition, it is science of the soul. So now I ask you, what have you been saying when no one is listening? What spells are you casting behind your own back? Your future is listening. Speak to it with intention. Do not demand the world give you what you've not dared to name. You are not waiting for the miracle is waiting for your word. And remember, delay is not denial, silence is not absence, and faith is not feeling, it is knowing. Speak as though it has already been done, because in divine law it has.
So now, you've heard the words. But don't let them just echo in the walls of your mind, let them rebuild the walls of your life. You are not here to crawl through survival. You were not born to beg the universe for scraps of hope. You are the living word of a law that cannot be broken, only believed. And if you've spent your whole life wondering why things never work out, perhaps it's because you've been trying to earn what was always meant to be received. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you believe you're worthy of. And today, that belief must rise. The world will keep spinning, people will keep doubting, time will keep moving, but your soul, it's waiting. Not for another video, not for a better day, but for the exact moment you decide to stop living like you're powerless. Close your eyes, take your hands off the wheel, and say aloud, I am now aligned with the law of divine flow. I do not chase. I attract. I do not fear. I allow. I do not shrink. I remember who I am. Now, go back into your life like someone who has seen the truth. Because you just did, and there is no turning back. Don't just like this video. Leave a message to your future self in the comments, then come back a year from now, and watch what happened when you finally surrendered. Your timeline is waiting, and it only moves when you do.